So we're just before school zones here, so they won't apply. I have noticed some improvements with school zones and FSD 13. It does seem to pick them up a fair bit of the time now, and that's normally where a 60 kilometre an hour zone goes to a 40 kilometre an hour zone. And look, Australians and Sydney-siders do speed a lot and stay on the limit and above it. But one thing that we do, which is pretty good, is we tend to stick to school zone limits. So yeah, it's good to see that FSD is picking up those zones. It's going all right here. There's no cars on the road, so 5 under, I mean, if I was being picky. It is slowing down from a long way out on these lights as well. Sydney-siders, or I think maybe most Australians, tend to sort of come up on the lights and then, you know, not a hard brake, but not that sort of gentle, graduated from 100 metres braking. Yeah, pretty good takeoff there. Kind of getting up to speed. We're going to be pulling off to the left up here. Would be indicate. Yeah, okay. Yeah, a bit of a late indicate. I guess that's okay. If I was driving it myself, I probably would have indicated it from a little bit further out. But, you know, no knock there. So coming up to a stop sign. Yeah, good angle, which is good because we're going to pull onto a main road. Yeah, here we go. It's got a pretty good gap there. Yeah, pulled into the left lane. I would probably go to the middle in that situation, because the left lane on a road like this in Sydney is normally pretty sort of potholed, and the gutter comes into it a bit. But look, it's done the right thing by pulling out to the middle there as well. As you can see, Sydney-siders do like to go over the speed limit. I'm doing 62 here, so off they go. Another juniper. I would tend to get over to the right here, just because there's less traffic, or less cars. But FSD seems to, I won't say plod along, but just, you know, take the middle road, I guess, is probably the best description for it. So that's one thing I think that 14 will really be a benefit of in Australia, which is to introduce, hopefully, speed profiles, because you know, at the moment with our version of 13.2.9, there's no profile. So, you know, I would call the de facto profile chill. It'd be something like that. It's definitely more chilled out than I would normally drive. Having seen videos on YouTube or whatever, I think I'd probably be more of a hurry, stroke Mad Max type. But, you know, obviously there's many different ways to drive. It's another juniper. They're sort of growing on trees at the moment in Sydney. This one's a Model Y Performance, so oh, there's something on the road here. Bit of a pothole. That's all right. Yeah, so this is a Model Y Performance. I've only had it a month or so. As I said, I picked it up in Queensland, which is a long way from here, because it was the only one available in the country, or at least on the East Coast at that time. So it's got an orange here. Yeah, it's going through that. I would have done that as well. It is cruising at about 5 under, so I'm going to try and avoid any type of intervention. But, you know, if I was driving this not in a FSD video, I would probably be stepping on the accelerator or hitting the indicator to suggest that it speed up and take the fast lane. But today we're just cruising. So now we're coming into more of a sort of an open road, 90 kilometre an hour zone, so significantly faster. Hasn't yet picked up the speed zone. It will here, just did. But it still seems to be, I would have liked to see a bit more speed on. It's slowly coming on. Wonder whether it will just stay in this lane or pull out. Lane placement here is pretty good. I'm just unsure whether the lane placement to the left is actually an issue or whether I'm just sort of imagining it. But I remember the first time I drove FSD on the open road, I was really aware of it. It would be in a freeway type situation, taking over trucks and things, and it would be, we obviously overtake on the right because we're right-hand drive cars, and as it took to the right lane to overtake, it would very much stay left aligned in the right lane. So, as a result of that, you come pretty close to trucks. And look, this is 20 under. There's an open lane. I think I'm going to get it over and try and get it to speed up. Sorry, that's intervention 1. I guess for preference, these people are quite happily plodding along at 20 under the speed limit, but I don't think that's ideal. So it's picked up pretty quickly to 82, 83. I'd really want to be seeing 90 here, to be honest, at the speed limit. But doing pretty well. I mean, if you consider this system against other systems, it's actually pretty amazing what it can do. The rest of the world, all the other car brands are stuck on, adaptive cruise control, whereas FSD can pretty much do automated driving supervised through city streets. It's pretty amazing. So I shouldn't be too harsh of a judge on it. That was not the car, that was my electronic suction cup reducing. Pretty cool little device actually. Solves the old suction cup problem when you're trying to mount a camera in a car. So we're into an 80 zone. We are going 5 under, which is sort of, I think, just okay. Oh, it's speeding up a bit now. As I said, Sydney-siders get pretty impatient when you're sitting out in the right lane and not actually doing the speed limit or above. So pretty uneventful ride right now. I'm getting the feeling that, particularly when FSD 14 arrives, that the era of FSD videos are sort of going to go away a bit. I guess if the car's not making mistakes, it's not really that interesting viewing. But what I've found is you definitely make some interventions with FSD 13. Not to knock on it too much, but there's some times where you definitely need to be watching out what's going on and taking over. I haven't had any real critical kind of safety incidents or anything like that though. I did have one further back down the road where it, what did it do? Yeah, I'll probably put some footage up, but it sort of continued on when the left-hand lane was basically ending, and proceeded through what became basically the breakdown lane, and then into what then became the left-hand turn lane, and then basically wanted to go straight through the right-hand turn lane. So yeah, it wasn't ideal, but it also wasn't unsafe. But you know, at the same time, it probably would have gotten you a ticket if the police had seen you do that. And, you know, I'm not really one to go straight from turn lanes. Pretty can be dangerous depending on the situation. So a fair bit of traffic here, so pretty uneventful kind of journey so far. We'll then just turn the car around and come back the other way. Good views of the ocean in Sydney just here. So this is heading down to part of Sydney called the Northern Beaches. And it's Friday afternoon, so there's a bit of traffic on the road. But FSD been really well behaved. I mean, one of the big benefits I think of FSD is in situations like this, where you've got heavy traffic and, you know, stop-start type stuff, and you know, FSD can kind of, I guess, take the role of adaptive cruise control, where you just basically taking the cognitive load off yourself and sitting back and relaxing when, you know, otherwise it'd be, you know, a bit more stress on you and fatigue on you as a driver. Okay, so I want some force on the wheel there, so I'll put my hand out and it's letting me know that attention monitoring is active. So I think that's like a dead man check basically, because I have been watching the road, so I haven't been inattentive. But I think nonetheless, after a period of time, it just wants to kind of make sure that you're not, I don't know, that you haven't got your eyes closed behind your sunglasses or something like that. So out of the 60 roadwork zone into the 70, and it's already up to speed, which is good. Oh, it's going over this time, okay. So it's sent that truck well ahead of time, which is kind of nice. But it's not going fast enough for my liking, to be honest. We're going 7 under. And yeah, we're going 9 under now. I wonder whether it will right lane sit now or whether it will get back. If I was driving manually, I'd definitely be back in that left lane and probably going another 10 kilometres an hour faster, if I'm honest. But yeah, hopefully it'll be interesting to see how FSD 14 handles, whether it does right lane sitting or not, which is obviously not that polite as a road user to sit out there and hog the overtaking. It's now doing 60 and we're in a 70 zone. I don't know, it's, not loving it, but there is traffic, so maybe it's just cruising along. It's kind of been interesting to use FSD because obviously you get to see how at least a robot would drive. And I mean, to their credit, I think Tesla have put together a pretty good single profile that's, you know, doesn't annoy different styles of drivers too much. Now we're coming into an 80 zone. I've got someone coming up behind me. I would be getting over. In fact, I am going to indicate over because it's just being rude. So that's a small intervention, I guess. I technically didn't have to, but you know, that would annoy me if I was sitting behind someone who's not going the speed limit in the overtaking lane. So yeah, if anything, this video is really just to put a bit of a baseline down so that I can remember what FSD 13 is like, with FSD pretty much rolling out from today, 14 that is in Australia. It will be pretty cool to get those profiles, and it will also be cool to actually have some end of trip options, like you know, to whether to sort of pull over and do a curb street-based park, or to do a you know, parking lot, or even garage or driveway at least. So yeah, no, I can't wait for that to come down and to try it out. But 13 isn't bad. I mean, it's been out for a year or so. I'm only sort of recent to it, but you know, it's probably far above any other sort of driver assistance system in this country at the moment. Yeah, that's good. It's getting over, which is good as we come into a 60 km/h zone, because we're going to turn right a bit further up, which is good. That's another thing that I have noticed, you know, in heavy traffic around Sydney, it does get stuck in the wrong lane, and you know, the extreme wrong lane, which makes it very hard when it combines that with turning, you know, making its turning decisions late, because you know, the way the drivers are in Sydney and a lot of major cities is no one's going to let you in, right? Yeah, I've really had to intervene in that type of situation quite a few times. Oh, it doesn't want to go right. Off he goes. Got a green arrow, so round we go. Yeah, reasonably smooth around there. This is an easy roundabout coming up, so it should handle this pretty well. What it doesn't handle so well is oh, that was good. It did indicate to exit the roundabout as well, which is great. But yeah, it does. This version of the software, I've noticed, has struggled a little bit with roundabouts on smaller streets that are pretty common around Sydney. Just a lot of hesitation, and doesn't often hit the arc of the curve right. So I'll see how it goes around here. Yeah, no, it just corrected. I mean, not terrible, but it just, you know, had to realign its calculation of what the curve was. So I'm going to pull in here. Yeah, I'm going to disengage so we can go into this driveway. I am taking control. And we'll just pull up a park here, and I guess record another quick video coming back the other way. So there we go. If I put in a reverse, it's not really letting me do much besides select the park in front of me. Oh yeah, we can start that. Not the world's greatest reverse parker, I'd have to say, version 13, but it seems to get there eventually. Really looking forward to that being improved in version 14. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's tightening itself up. Yeah, not too bad. Went to the other side. But look, you know, okay. Anyway, that was the drive, and I hope you enjoyed it. And it'd be interesting to see how this compares with version 14 of FSD in Australia, in Sydney. See ya.